So yesterday I made a showcase for Gojo, and within the same hour of dropping the video, Anime Saga actually got an update. And within this update, Boss Studio buffed every single JJK unit, which I liked, because they really were a little bit too weak. And they labeled Gojo as one of the unit that was buffed within this update. And since I just made a showcase for Gojo, I had the Gojo stats, like his damage and his cooldown that was in the game because I tested it so I can use it within my video because I prefer my videos to be a bit more detailed and not just filming me with Gojo and have you guys figure out what the damage actually is. So since I have the official stats before the buff, so I thought I could compare this stat to what Gojo is currently at. So I can see, what kind of buff Gojo got within this update. Now, mind you, that in the previous video, I labeled Gojo as the strongest unit in the game. So what I'm hearing is that the best unit in the game just got a buff. So I was really excited. Like, we might have a really strong unit on our hands here. So I used a bit of a formula to figure out the change in damage for Gojo. And my formula is basically the current damage that Gojo is doing in the game after the update, minus his previous damage, the stats that I used in my last video. And this number is basically the overall change in damage, how much damage got buffed, how much damage got nerfed. And then I divided this damage by the cooldown of the skill that I was testing. And this would result in me getting the change in DPS for whatever skill I was testing. And I did this for every single skill. I'm gonna pop up the math on the screen here. So it just goes skill 1, skill 2, skill 3, skill 4, and that's basically the order. So you can see the math. I don't think I did anything wrong here. Maybe I did. Comment below if I did anything wrong. And if you look at the calculations, you can see that skill 1 and skill 3 actually got nerfed in DPS. Skill 1 wasn't supposed to be doing damage, but so they erased the damage entirely. That's a nerf. And skill 3 got a huge nerf. It went from 15k damage to about 7k. Its damage got cut in half. And since the cooldown was only 25 seconds on this move, the DPS went down by a lot. And so skill 2 and skill 4 got a buff. Skill 2 damage went up a bit, and skill 4 damage actually went up by 9,000. But when you divide it by its cooldown, which is 55 seconds, that's not that much increase in terms of DPS. And if you use another formula, the math that's at the very bottom row, which is basically the sum of all change. And this would equal to the overall change in DPS for Gojo. And this number here is actually a nerf. Gojo lost 138 DPS and a little bit of something after the update dropped. So when I saw this number, I was confused. Like, they said Gojo got buffed, but it seems like from my math, Gojo got nerfed. His DPS went down. So I was like, what is happening? So I went to Discord, I posted a thread about my findings, and I got one of the lead tester to talk to me about what's going on. So I was showing him my calculations, I was showing him the loss in damage, and I was like, what is actually going on? He was supposed to get a buff, why is he weaker now? And the dev was, not the dev, the lead tester was being awfully rude to me. He was like, I'm gonna block you, I'm not gonna entertain this. I'm not sure what he was on about. I'm not sure what he's tweaking over. Like, I'm over here trying to find out what's going on. Like, they kept saying Gojo's buff, Gojo's getting nerfed. Like, did I make a mistake? The thing is, he kept insisting that Gojo actually did get a buff. So my confidence went down. Like, I'm talking to a lead tester. So I'm like, maybe my math was wrong. Maybe my information, my stats, I used it the wrong number or something. And so I went back to the videos that I filmed yesterday to check what Gojo's damage was. Like, the lead tester kept saying that I hit a crit and I'm using crit damage compared to normal damage, and that's why Gojo got nerfed. So I went back, and it seems like the info that I have was right. I kept doing the same damage over and over and over, and it's unlikely that I'm actually hitting crits over and over and over, since my Gojo's, Warlord, and it doesn't really have a crit skill. And the dev was saying that, why do I keep saying dev? The tester kept saying that you can hit a crit even without like a crit trait. So I was like, maybe it is a crit. Turns out it's not. The information that I've used for pre-update Gojo seems to be correct. So I thought maybe my post-update Gojo stat was off. Maybe he was doing like 50k damage instead of 40. Maybe I put in the wrong number. And I retested Gojo again, and nothing seems off. The numbers that I'm using seems to be correct. So I went back into Discord and showed him like an updated version of the math, and it's still showing a loss in DPS. So he just doubted everything I was saying. So he just said that I don't even have Gojo. What am I talking about? So I linked it my channel for him to see that I actually did have Gojo. And then I'm like, I have Gojo now, and I have Gojo back then. And from what I'm seeing, Gojo actually got a nerfed. So I was asking, like, is this an accident? Did you guys accidentally nerfed him? Because you guys said he's buffed. And what the lead tester's reaction was basically screw my calculations. And he kept insisting official damage got buffed. The thing is, he kept saying official damage got buffed. And I was confused by what he meant by official damage. So I'm going to draw you an image here so that it's easier to understand the logic train that this lead tester was on. Because it was a bit hard for me to understand at first until I like reread what was actually going on and got a better understanding of what's happening. So here's an image for you. So this is my side of the story. So this is pre-update stats, the stats that's actually in the game, the stats that I tested, the stats that was used for my last video, compared to the stats that is actually in the game right now. And what I found is that the DPS went down, therefore it's a nerf. And this is basically what I'm drawing here. So this is the stats nerf. And that's my side. He got nerfed. I'm like, what more can there be to this? And so here's the lead tester point of view. And his point of view is that the stat that I use, the stat that was in my video, and the stat that was actually in the game, he labeled this as unofficial stats because they coded Gojo to be stronger than what he was actually supposed to be. Gojo got like a glitch, a bug or something, they put in the wrong numbers, something happened, and Gojo is stronger than what he was supposed to be. Therefore, the stats that I used were unofficial. And what Gojo was supposed to be doing, his official stats, compared to the stats that's in the game right now, is actually a buff. And this is what the lead tester was arguing. His official stats compared to his current stat is a buff. And the thing is, I can't argue with what the tester is saying here. I'm not their coder, I'm not their tester, I'm not their developer. I don't have the documents, I don't have the files. So I'm just gonna assume that the lead tester is correct. That the official stat, that the supposed stat is compared to the current one actually did get buff. But the thing is, to label this change as a buff is still outrageous to me. So I'm going to give you another scenario here. Basically the same things happening, but I'm just going to make it a bit more extreme so you can really understand my argument here. So if an update were to drop right now, and every single unit's damage is changed to 1. Every unit, every skill is now doing 1 damage. And the developer labeled this as a buff because the supposed stat, the official stat, was actually supposed to be 0. None of the units were supposed to be doing any damage. So 0 damage to 1 damage is a buff. Do you think the player base would agree? Do you think the player base would be happy that these units got a buff? Hell no. This is not a buff. We don't know what's supposed to be in the game. We just know what is. And what is that the damage that we're playing with went down. So it's misleading to label this change as a buff when what the players are experiencing is a nerf. I don't think it's wrong to say this. I'm not sure, but I don't think my logic is wrong here. Correct me if I'm saying anything wrong in the comments, because I want to know. I want to know if the logic train that I am on is wrong. Because I don't think it's wrong, at least from the player's point of view, to believe that Gojo got nerfed this update. The thing is, I don't believe, or I don't think, that the developers are trying to deceive the player base by saying Gojo is buffed. I believe that they just should be clearer about the information and the stats behind the scene, so that everyday players like me or you don't get confused when a unit that was labeled as buffed is performing poorly now compared to what it was before. The takeaway from this video is that the communication between the dev team and the player base could be improved. Stat change could be a bit more transparent. You should be a bit more transparent if a unit is bugged. He wasn't supposed to be doing this type of damage, so that everyone don't get hyped when we get a buff and the damage just went to hell. And that's pretty much it for the video. Have a good day.